Hi, welcome to part one of our assessment of, and we're using Google Forms to create quick and easy assessments that will self-mark themselves and provide meaningful feedback to the students and to you. That's a little bit easier than just hand marking and more informative. So if you haven't used Forms before, this is the video you want to watch. We're going to create forms. We're going to talk about add-ons, and we're talking about deploying and how to manage the answers when they come in. If you already know all this stuff, I would ask that you skip to video 2 and check out how to use Flubaroo and SuperQuiz in those videos. But for now, we're in Google Drive. We have our drive set up, and to make a form, we can just go to More and hit up Google Forms. Very, very easy to use tool, but there are some tricky spots that people get stuck in. Talk about those in a second. So to create sample test 1, you can put down your description here. Some things that you want to look out for are some of your settings. More importantly is you're going to see 2 different settings here. I'm on Google Classroom, so I can require some international school, depending our domains here, certain students to log in, so it tracks them automatically. You're not going to have that option, and some students won't have a Gmail account, so you should unclick that they need to have a Gmail account. So that means you're not going to be able to track individually who did the quiz, but you shouldn't have to because students are using iMail accounts. So your first question then should be probably student name. If they do have a Gmail account, and every student does have a Gmail, then you can use more powerful tools. I'm just going to change that here to a text. Required question. And that's an important first question, so you can track the students later. If they are signed in by Google or they are on Google Classroom, you don't need to do that. You can just require a login and then it'll automatically collect there some way. Another big one is shuffle question order. I use this as 2 tools to stop students from cheating. So the questions are going to be reordered, and also the answers for each question are going to be reordered. So likelihood of cheating goes significantly down. So very easy. Your responses we'll talk about first. So if you want to ever turn off your quiz and you don't want it to be live, easy to turn off from there, and then you can start it up when you need it. Your summary responses aren't actually going to happen here. They're going to happen in 2 different places. You can see an overall chart of everything that happened, but it's not very useful when marking. So you want to see the responses in essentially the same as Microsoft Excel, but it's going to be called a Google Sheet, and you want to view those responses. So what you can do is change the response destination, and as long as it looks like this, new spreadsheet, and always create new spreadsheet is clicked, then you're fine. So that'll create. So now I'm back in my drive. I have a separate one. This is my sample test right here that we're working on, and this is the responses. I'm going to open up that. And already we had a timestamp will be automatic, but we had student name because we made that question, and I put username because I clicked create username in this one. So as we create questions, that's going to automatically update itself, so you never need to worry about it. And even if you had some students write a test or a form and filled out something and then you wanted to add something later, it'll still add it and keep all the other responses. So it's all synced together, so you don't need to worry too much about it. But this is where you're actually going to get your marks from, and this is important. If you want to share or collaborate your form or send it to students, all you do is hit send form, and then you can get a short URL or just use that link. If you want to embed it into your website, or if you have a blog or something else, you can embed it, use the HTML, so it's a live form in those. That's pretty easy to use. If you want to invite specific people, if you want collaborators, this link down here. Just note that when you're collaborating with people, you invite them, send them an email, they get notified, all good. But you also need to collaborate on the response sheet as well. You can see responses up here, because someone that needs to be able to, they want to just be able to edit that, but if you want to share the test and have one response for both classes, also a teacher that gets collaborated can take this quiz and then have their own response sheet from it. So that's okay too if you're collaborating. Let's go on to making questions. Making question is super easy. A couple of things you need to note though. If I want to add an item, you can pick from the drop-down menu everything you want. So let's just go multiple choice. We'll do question 1, option true, false, and then I can add other or whatever else I want. I can have as many of these as I want. Trolls. I'm going to make this a required question. When you require a question, it's starred, and the form won't be able to be completed until these fields are filled out. So it's a good idea to have the required question so students don't leave anything blank. Unless you have the option for students to leave blank, then you should leave it not required. Another thing when you're on it is you can have page-based answers. Actually, we're going to talk about this first, advanced settings. So I can shuffle the order of the options, so then all of those true, false, and trolls and other options will be shuffled. So not only the questions are randomized in order, but the answers are randomized as well. What I do is, after I create a question that has all the settings I want, I always just copy that question because I don't have to worry about checking off a required question or advanced settings because they're already done for me. Now, what page-based answers are, and we have to make another page first, is maybe you want, depending on what answer they pick, they can go to a separate page. So you can build some pretty intricate quizzes and tests based on that, or have smart forms. But what you need to do first is add a page break. Page 2. So now that I have a page break, right now the form is set that they continue to the next page after they answer the first 2 questions. And that looks like this. Sorry. Oh, it's no longer accepting applications. Better turn on applications. So they have their question and question name. Student name is not at the top. I could put a page break in there just because I randomized the order. So I can put a page break and keep it the same. But now I continue. They're going to go to that second page that we created. However, if I wanted to have, for example, if they got true, they're going to end the form if they answer true. So I could go to page-based answers, and I could say submit form. Form is done. If they answer false, I could say then they can continue to page 2. And you could have intricate page 3, page 4 for answers, and so on and so forth. So each question, you could also have each question on a different page, so then it would stop students from cheating as well, as they would have to continue, and they wouldn't even have the chance of seeing questions on the same page as well. Just take a little bit longer to set up. So we're going to be done there. That's it to questions. They're very simple and straightforward. You can have long answer, whatever you want. I like to use pictures in mine, so this is another test. And I just put a picture, and then they say identify the numbers. So desktop hardware there. And it just speeds up the process when they're writing down the test as well. Last thing, no, 2 more things. If you want to change the theme, you can choose or create your own. I create just a simple theme, and then I can tell if they're on the right page or not when I'm sitting at the back of the class while they're writing the test. And the most important part here, if you want to make this even more important to your tools, or important to your teaching, there's actually additional tools you can get, and these are called add-ons. So what you can do is you can get add-ons, and it'll have a whole list. There's not as many add-ons for forms as our sheets, but you can cruise through them and see which ones that might be helpful. So anything with a check mark on I've already installed. So form notification will just let you know when someone fills out a form, which is pretty important. Choice eliminator will take away a choice from a list. So say you had dates for a project that they were submitting or they were presenting, and they will pick different times and dates. As soon as something is picked, that's eliminated from the choice. So they won't be able to pick, 2 students won't be able to pick the same choice. And math forms is the one I'm going to show you, so I'll say that. So say you want to get a form, all you do is click on it, and then you just add it. I don't need this one. So after you download it, when you're on your add-ons, you can see all of the options that they have. So if I wanted to throw in math forms and create a graph, it's going to pop up on the side here, and I'll be able to create a graph with all the functions I need. I don't know a ton about math, so I'm not going to go into that right now, and we're running up on our time for recording video. So that's part 1 of creating a simple Google form, and you need to be able to do this before you can do part 2. So once you've mastered part 1, administrating a test, creating a test, and managing a test, I have 30 seconds left. That's when you can start using the automatic grading systems that we're going to talk about in part number 2. All right, so that's 10 minutes. If you have any questions, just get back, and thanks for listening.